10 o'clock and going live.
How amazing that we should manage to time it so well. If we were the 9 o'clock news, that'd be pretty good. But I don't think they have the 9 o'clock news anymore
No.
here in the UK. Used to be a thing when I was when I was a youngster, that the 9 o'clock news would be on BBC One, and then news at 10 would be on ITV. Hello, and welcome to our daily roundup of things Corona-esque. Is that even a word?
No.
Now, we kick off today with some very sad news. I'm sure that there are many of us who remember Tim Brooke-Taylor, who was in particular famous for doing the Goodies with Graham Garden and Bill Oddie. It was a staple of daytime television back in the 1970s when I was a kid. And he has sad and also he was on that Radio 4 programme. I'm sorry, I haven't a clue. Sadly, Tim Brooke-Taylor has left the building courtesy of the coronavirus, another in a long line of casualties of this terrible pandemic that we're currently witnessing. He was from Cambridge, and he was friends with the likes of John Cleese and Eric Idle and so forth, friends of the Monty Python team. One of the guys who wasn't a Python but was in that circle, if you like. So a very sad kind of start to today's outing. A very good evening to you, Kevin. Thank you for joining us this evening. I don't see everybody who's joining, but I see some people, so I say hello to them. So we kick off today with the news that Tim Brooke-Taylor of the Goodies has sadly passed. I suppose we'll probably watch a Goodies episode tonight when we finish this. They were very funny guys, and they had this tremendously long bicycle. A very good evening to you, sir. The Goodies had this very long. It was prime time telly on BBC One at 7 o'clock in the evening or something once a week, and they had this not a tandem. But a triple one, and then they had a reunion show a few years ago, and because of health and safety, they weren't allowed to ride their trademark bicycle, but we have had good news. The Prime Minister has left hospital, which is pretty good going actually, because this is one of the things. Hello, Christopher. Thanks for joining us. One of the things about this virus is it's a short, sharp shock. So you can be knocked out with it in a second, but you can also recover quite quickly. It's a sort of like a 14, 15-day cycle, and you recover or you don't, and most people do. And the chances of it hitting you. Yes, a goody yum yum, says Kevin. That was their theme tune, and we remember as well their song "The Funky Gibbon," which I think was in the top 10. I played it to you once.
Yes.
I played it to you.
Yes, I remember that.
So there we are. He was 79 years old, and this is a thing that hits home in that the guys who were 40 years old, growing up as a kid on the telly and all this kind of thing, or maybe 30 years old, are all a bit older now. It certainly makes you think, doesn't it? I went to the car park this evening to record a short video. The car park is opposite our home here. It's literally less than 50 metres from the old front door here. And I just stood in the centre of the car park with the camera and kind of swung it round. Nobody around. So that is a very good sign that everybody, even though it's been a super day, people are staying indoors. We haven't been doing our daily exercise that we're allowed to do, have we?
No outdoors. Indoors, yes.
Oh yes, plenty of up and down the stairs. We haven't quite reached Everest yet, but I think we're up to about Ben Nevis. So we went on a 10-minute walk, just sort of around the local area, and we had our son on the phone, which was so nice, and we were talking to him the whole time. So it was the next best thing, I guess, to going for a walk with the family. We walked past one flat, and this was on the first floor, where there's a lot of noise going on, and it certainly wasn't the inhabitants of that flat. So somebody had a load of people around for lunch. There was a balcony, and there was only one fellow on the balcony, but you could hear a lot of noise. So there are still some naughty ones out there, and if only they had. So look, so you've got a one in. Maybe 1 in 50 chance of getting this, or 2 in 50. So you've got 25 people in the room. At least one of them is going to get that. At least one of them is going to have it to start with. Probably 5 or 6 of them are going to get it. So this is the reality of it. So we do need to stay home. Oh my goodness, Kevin tells me Sir Sterling Moss passed today as well, and he reached the age of 90. It wasn't related to this virus. We're pleased to report, and apparently he's been ill for some time. But I remember the year, was it 2016, which started off with Lemmy, and then a whole lot of people like Bowie and all this kind of thing from the world of rock seemed to kind of slip away. And it got so bad that on my radio show that I do, I kind of just stopped mentioning these fellas. 2016 was quite a grim year. And somebody at the end of 2016 did a kind of collage, like, do you remember the Sgt. Pepper's album?
Yeah.
The album cover with everybody in there, Marilyn Monroe and all sorts. They did a collage of all the people who'd left the building in, I think it was 2016, I'm just saying this off the top of my head. And even as that was being updated at the end of the year, they had to add a few names at the bottom of that particular stream. But, we seem to be turning the corner as far as these numbers are concerned. And the lockdown policy does seem to be working. Hello, David. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening, Easter Sunday 2020, where we're sort of inviting people into our home every day for as long as we're not allowed really to go out, except kind of sneaking out to the shops every now and again. But even then, what we do now, because we're only allowed one person in the old local supermarket at a time, so being very egalitarian and fair, one of us stays outside and points at the window, because this shop has got a window all the way down next to the aisles, and then the other one goes up and down the aisles, goes left a bit, right a bit, up a bit, down a bit like that show, The Golden Shot, that used to be on the telly, which is probably you don't remember it, but it was kind of somebody on the telephone was there was Bernie the Bolt would put the bolt in this crossbow type thing, and then somebody on the telephone would control this thing up, right, left, right, fire. And then you could win prizes. Yeah. So that's a bit how our shopping is now. And so as a result of that, today we don't have any more no secco. We've got the yes secco.
Yeah, that's the reason. Today was my turn to go into the shop, and you stayed outside pointing what we needed. And but the reason is that it was my turn is that yesterday I wanted a prosecco. So I asked David, can you give me prosecco? I said, well, yeah. So there I was outside, pointing some other things, hoping that he had the correct bottle. So after our show, I got to the kitchen and opened the prosecco and I tasted it. I didn't check the label. I just thought, okay, let's have some prosecco, and it tasted awful. It's not what I was expecting. I thought, oh my God, this is so bad. And it was a no secco. Non-alcoholic
I just saw
prosecco.
secco and grabbed it because for me the old trip to the supermarket is a bit like welcome to the jungle. So I'm wearing my camouflage outfit and crawling along with my rifle and all this, and I have to get in and out quickly before the enemy snipers get me. So I just saw secco, grabbed it, quick tail,
so frustrating.
and then I stand kind of about 3 meters back when the guy comes to take the security tag off and everything. They'll probably think I'm a bit funny. They probably remember in that store. It's a tiny store, tiny corner store, even though it's owned by one of the majors. It's the same crew who are there all the time. I don't know, probably 5 or 6 people, and reasonably full shelves. But rather annoyingly, you have to go for different times of day to get stuff. So today we got bread, but no berries. Yesterday we got berries, but no bread, and the perils of shopping in the 21st century. Did I win a speedboat? Says Kevin. Well, I do my best. That is to say, Kevin Stevenson. Hello, Kevin Darby from Ipswich. Very nice to have you. I think the two Kevins have been with us sort of every night really since we started this, and it's an honour to welcome you into our home. And I hope when all this is over, we'll actually have some tea parties and invite people around for real. I think that'd be really nice, wouldn't it? We'd have to have a bit of a tidy up, but we'll make it nice. At the moment, the only way to get into this house is, as I mentioned yesterday, up the step ladder and across the balcony. Do you remember we were babysitting a cat? Well, you remember, of course, but
pet sitting.
That's what it is.
Not babysitting.
Catty sitting. Well, it was a kitten sitting then.
Yeah.
And that was a couple of months ago for our good friend Fiona. Well, this kitten was quite adventurous, and in our near our bathroom ceiling, we've got a kind of like a sloping ceiling in the bathroom with a beam that runs, well above, about sort of 2.5 meters above floor level, and this cat managed to kind of delicately saunter above there, kind of sticking its tongue out or whatever, and saying, "Well, you can't get me." Then we had to get the old step ladder to get it down. Hello, Andy. Hello, Chris. Hello, Sue. Welcome to this Sunday evening. I nearly gave the radio station identity, but we're not, are we? I have to remember that we're doing pictures now, so this is as near as it gets to television. So this kitten that we were babysitting a couple of weeks back was kind of adventurous. I mean, obviously it clawed all all the net curtains to pieces and everything, and jumped on things and terrified us. It did like YouTube videos about
Yes,
birds
about
in a garden,
birds.
and
Yeah.
it would sit there watching the screen going. Meow, meow, meow. But anyway, today
I like you guys' impression.
it's cool, isn't it? Really, I mean, we could have returned me, and we could have kept the kitten, and nobody would have noticed. Hello, Anita. Hope your Sunday was good.
Yeah, happy Easter, everyone. Yeah.
Happy Easter to one and all, to everybody who celebrates Easter. So, anyways, we saw on Facebook today a photo of this kitten that we'd been babysitting earlier.
Pet sitting.
Whoops. It had the owner lives in quite a big house, which is a 2-story house with an apexy kind of roof, and there on the top of the roof is this kitten, and so our friend Fiona goes, well, I had to let it out for a bit, and we just thought that was
But
hysterically
it was
funny.
so chilled out. It was like, yes, I'm in my element, right on top of the roof.
The kitten was just kind of doing a bit of sunbathing, and but yeah, I would imagine it would have taken I don't know how they got it down.
Are we going to get a kitten ourselves at one point?
Possibly at some point, yeah, possibly at some point.
Good.
That would be nice, really, and we'll get it its own door so it can get in and out. We've got a busy street in front of us, but I think if the kittens, but we live in a row of Victorian houses, so I think it'd be difficult for the old kitten to get around to the front, so I think we're reasonably safe. Well, no, not a kitten like that one. A kitten like that one we had was like, what was his name? Houdini. This was,
He was
it was
Houdini,
the feline equivalent of Houdini. And a very good
was such a
evening,
cute-
Ricardo, if I may say so.
Oh, hello, Ricardo.
Who's just joined us. It's lovely to see people joining us on this Easter Sunday. Welcome to our home, and with it being Sunday, we're kind of chilling a bit, and we haven't got the old prosecco. My goodness,
No, later.
what a terrible omission.
No,
we'll be.
No, it's just...
We'll be enjoying that later. I was going to watch actually we were going to watch, weren't we? A TV drama called Mr. Holmes, which was, I think, with one of the real kind of thesps, one of the real kind of actors, very famous old actor, portraying a Sherlock Holmes who's getting on a bit, and he's sort of, I don't know, they let him out of the nursing home for a day or something, and he relives his old case, which might have been quite fun. But I think now we'll re-watch an episode of The Goodies, because we got that series on DVD, so we'll have a look at one of them.
Yeah.
We'll have a look at one of them, and I expect the TV channels will be paying tribute as well to Tim Brooke Taylor. Now, here's the big question that I've been asking myself for days, because with me being like an arch gamer. Oh, and we saw today as well, I tell you, this the sketch. I'm sure you remember the sketch for Candles with the two Ronnies. Hello, Harminder. If you haven't seen that sketch, the one guy goes into a shop to buy stuff, and he says, well, I'd like 4 candles, please. So the other, no, both called Ronnie, the other Ronnie brings out 4 candles, like you put in a birthday cake, and he goes, no, 4 candles, handles for forks. And it sort of goes on like that, which was very funny at the time. I still found it quite funny looking at it today.
Old-time television. It's lovely television.
And then the one surviving Ronnie, sadly neither of the Ronnies are with us anymore. One surviving Ronnie did a sketch with Ronnie with that guy Harry Enfield, Smashy and Nicey, and Smashy of Smashy and Nicey, where they revisit it for the 21st century, and he goes in and says, my BlackBerry isn't working, into a greengrocer's, and they discuss blackberries and orange and apple and all kinds of things. So that's very well, and the punchline at the end, which I won't spoil for you, is related to gamers. And it's a very, very funny little sketch. Both of these sketches about 2 or 3 minutes long, so check it out. Not now, stay with us for now, but when we get off, go and check it out. So, but anyway, the thing about gaming, and I made a point the other day that this swivelly chair that I'm in, and I'm always offering Irma to have this. This is Irma's chair normally.
Oh yeah, do a lot of gaming,
It's the it's Irma's office chair, but when we were looking for a nice comfy one, I decided that a gaming chair would be the best kind of chair, because these gamers just sit there for days and nights and weeks on end doing all this kind of stuff. So despite the fact you wouldn't be doing all this kind of stuff, I thought it's got to be a comfy one, and about the same price as the office ones, and you could probably bounce up and down on them as well and all that. So so we got this gamer chair. But anyways, the thing is that during this lockdown, these gamers in their virtual worlds can probably explore, walk around Camelot or wherever it is, or Alcatraz. I've never been to Alcatraz, you know. And a fortnight there, that would be quite a holiday to remember, wouldn't it, really?
Well, if you misbehave, you certainly would
With
end up there.
waiter service bringing the food to my room and sliding it under the door. So imagine that. But yeah, so kind of the BBC interviews the head of Division of Games and Arts at Abertay University. I didn't know that universities had such departments now. Dr. Dania Galloway is the auspicious holder of that particular office, and the BBC interviews her about the sort of gaming thing, and she says, as with most things, don't overdo it. So, you know, glass of water, very nice, dropping in the Atlantic Ocean, boom. So kind of, it's a question of, you know, everything.
It's a question of balance.
Everything in balance and everything in moderation. I think that's the secret there.
It's a secret for everything. I mean, there are some people that go into a very, very strenuous diet, and really all they do is damaging the internal organs, because it's there's only so much that you can really process inside. I mean, everything has to have a balance.
Absolutely so. Absolutely so.
Or anything in life.
Totally. So in that same area, in Dumfries and Galloway, they've been distributing some traditional old games in packs to sort of encourage people to go home. Now, I used to love those things.
Shorthand.
So yeah. Shorthand, in terms of its gaming appeal, I'm not quite sure that really does it. But the Book of Mindfulness, again, that's possibly not. But playing cards, skipping ropes, something with poo on it. I'm not quite sure what that is. Flamingo poo. Is that a game, or is that something that the zookeeper collects?
Pingu.
Well, anyway, and so lots of those, and checkers and what have you. I think I mentioned that I was brushing up on the old chess because we were going to have an online game with our son, so I couldn't just go in there naked and do it. I had to have a bit of prep, and so
it's called cheating, David.
It's called taking a few moves back against the computer until you win. You got about 3 goes in. No, take back. What if I did this? You know, and that sort of thing. So eventually, I did beat the computer 1-0, but only after taking a few moves back. But I don't think I could get away with that with a human opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. But you know, hello Sarah. How are you on this Easter Sunday evening? We're just sort of I'm talking about sort of general stuff today, really. Because there's not much to report in the news arena. Andrew Marr was quite interesting this morning. We do tend to watch him on a Sunday morning. Today we watched him at 6 p.m. because it was one of those sort of days, and he was grilling some of the civil servants about the disparity between what the government says they're going to do about the NHS and about testing us for the virus and everything, and the actual delivery. And the delivery is pretty crap. We're way off all the things that we've been promised. Obviously, civil servants are great at spin and great at at sort of avoiding the interviewer's questions and say. And I noticed one of the things that this civil service guy talking about the NHS was saying. In every single sentence, he said this global problem, but hang on, it's his job to fix it here, and now. We have a window open, so there were some passers by. In fine voice, I don't know if you were able to hear them. It is the job of our health service to fix stuff. We're not doing nearly enough tests. We don't have enough gowns and masks and that kind of thing. And when they say, we've sent 70 squillion things to the hospitals, they might be paper clips. They don't specify what they're doing. And we need to protect our doctors with all the right kit. And I noticed in Wuhan, I think I mentioned this the other day, they had the hazmat suits, which were sort of a bit like astronauts sealed onto their thing, keeping people safe and all that kind of thing. And these guys are doing a great job. Next weekend, I'm doing a charity event, which is, again, on my Facebook timeline. And it's, about a dozen speakers talking about property and stuff. And we're all giving our time to free. The event is actually free. So you can sit through it. A 3-day event. You don't have to pay a penny. And we're just asking people if they found it valuable to make a donation, and the donation, because there are no expenses, will go straight to our heroes, and they are heroes. They're unsung heroes in the NHS. Kevin says the PM left hospital today, and he's at Chequers now before he goes back to work, and that's a remarkable turnaround. And
it's good news.
I think the officials are saying as well, and whether they are or whether they're not, it was 50-50. Whether Boris would make it or not. So I think, he now realises at first hand, A, the gravity of the situation, and B, the extraordinary work that our NHS people do. He must put this into practice. The times for sound bites are enough. There are on that fella Andrew Marr this morning. They were interviewing, I think it was somebody from the Daily Mail, who was saying that all day long they're being contacted non-stop by doctors in the NHS saying we haven't got the equipment, we're not being supported, we haven't got the medication, and all this kind of thing. So we need to open up that cartel that supplies the NHS, which is a nice little cosy closed shop, and we need to open this to all tenders of people who want to come along there, so that anybody who can make stuff to help us can do so at this critical time when all other businesses are shutting down. So
I can literally see a radical change coming up in terms of the NHS, and more so with the Prime Minister being ill with this the coronavirus. Yes, once you're close to death, really, because that's what it is. You don't know how it's going to play inside your body once it's in you. You kind of realize what is more important. So the Prime Minister being in that position where he is as a leader really needs to really have a good shift in terms of this pandemic that we're going through. Him himself has been in front of the portal of death, basically, if you want to look at it that poetically. But hopefully we'll time for reflection and huge change for the NHS, hopefully coming from the horse's mouth.
Absolutely. Did you just call the PM a horse?
No.
Well, there we are. But, I can't possibly comment. I'm not going to go there. Now, I'm not the jealous type, okay? But there's this philosopher dude called Alain de Botton, and she thinks he's the dog's thing, the dog's what's-its. But
just make the picture of this Mexican recently unpacked from Mexico in Corby, living in Corby with. I could hardly speak the language. In fact, I couldn't speak the language at all. And so I got these tapes and everything else. And the first soothing voice was this philosopher, Alain de Botton. Hence, he's a philosopher himself, and now it's the arch enemy of it.
I'm as jealous as hell, I am. But here's a philosophy that I'm not jealous of. The guy called Sylvia. I don't know if there's a guy. Oh, it isn't. It's a lady.
Sylvia said,
I just kind of, whoa! Sorry about that. A bit of gender identity issues.
A guy called Sylvia, no.
A lady called Sylvia Panizza. She is a teaching fellow at the University of Dublin, and she's currently caught in lockdown in Italy. And she offers some hope for those of us who are stuck in this situation. This comes from the Daily Express newspaper, who cannot spell the word dire. D-I-R-E, meaning awful. For the tabloid journalist who wrote this, it's D-Y-E-R. I'm sure that Grammarly didn't pick up on that, but the journo should have done. And so I hope his editor will suitably chastise him. But given that a lot of stuff is published online now, they can just fiddle with the article, and by the time we come off and you look for it, they'll probably have changed it if they're watching. But,
What about Alain de Botton?
So Ms. Don't mention that name. We need an exorcism here. Miss Panizza wrote an article for a magazine called The Conversation, which I think we said at the beginning. One way to think about the pandemic is in terms of humanity coming together to fight a natural threat. I found this thought both inspiring and absurd. That's typical philosopher talk, isn't it?
Yeah.
I find it more inspiring than anything else.
Life?
It is. There's a sense in which this is absolutely irrespective of social class, race, colour, sexual orientation, and so forth, and there's a sense in which it isn't, because, for example, the migrants in France, that they were pictured on BBC News queuing up very close together to get their daily sandwich. Which is, whereas, those of us who go to Sainsbury's here or other supermarkets, we've got crosses on the ground, we have to stand that far apart, well, actually that far apart, and that kind of thing. So we're privileged in that sense. But
they're not keeping a distance.
I saw another article today, which I can't find right now, but it was about how black and minority ethnic groups in America are being hit by this harder than other groups, and we don't know why that is at the moment. We don't know why that is. It might be a factor of poverty, the fact that wealth is unequally distributed. We're not sure. We're not sure. And look, we saw in Italy, didn't we? We saw in Italy a really a kind of in northern Italy, we saw it really hit them heavily, and you know, some societies are hit by this worse than others. We're not quite sure why that is. Hello, my good BBC friend Adam. We're having a general sort of bit of chit chat on this Easter Sunday evening. I hope everything is well with you and your family. Yeah, it's great to have you join us. I guess Adam is sort of in the forefront of all of this as well, and that he will be reporting on the stuff that's going on, whereas we're just kind of sitting back and we're doing our sort of Andrew Marr type thing, and giving a bit of analysis and stuff, and looking behind the scenes. But we found a philosopher's take on it, which was quite short, really, given that it was in one of the red tops. And you know, when we go, we did our 10-minute exercise, and we kind of actually saved up about a minute a day for the whole of the lockdown so far, because we haven't really been out once. We've been shopping 2 or 3 times, and today we actually walked past the supermarket and waved to the guy who I think is the manager on the way past, and
Yes.
exchanged some words with him from a safe distance. But kind of, you know, I was the radar of the outfit, and if I saw somebody on a bicycle or somebody walking or something, I was steering us to the left, to the right, and everything.
Yeah, because of the jet stream, isn't it?
It is. We saw this article, but it wasn't written by a doctor. It was written by an engineer, so we haven't yet had a chance to run it past any of our medical friends. But he suggested that the same way that you get with aircraft and this kind of thing, that there might be a slipstream behind joggers who are running down the old road. That it would be a good idea to avoid. Having said that, I don't think COVID-19 aerosolizes that much. I think it sinks. It doesn't hang around like some illnesses to the same extent. But you probably wouldn't want a coughing cyclist going too close to you.
No, what happens is when we run, I mean, we tend to cause lactic acid inside, so that lactic acid has to come out some way, and it could be, I don't know, spitting, or it could be just cleaning your nose with a water bottle, because that's why you have to keep yourself refreshed and cool.
Do you clean your nose with a water bottle? The thought of that is just going to really, I mean, it's quite extraordinary.
No.
Remind me never to jog anywhere near you, virus or not. What an extraordinary admission.
You don't jog. You kind of walk slow or fast.
Yeah, it's a good job that we're not important enough to be on the front pages of the newspapers tomorrow, because our name is not Kardashian or anything like that. And now,
no, I'm not.
we build this as talking about love, because love either flourishes or withers under these kinds of circumstances. Yeah, these are quite extreme times that we find ourselves in. And this is a song I've never played on my rock show, but it was a song called A Thing Called Love by the wonderful, amazing, legendary Johnny Cash. And I'm just going to quote a little bit out of this for artistic purposes, not copyright infringement intended. "You can't see it with your eyes, hold it in your hands, but like the wind it covers our land," and they're talking about love, not this virus, "strong enough to move the heart of anybody, this thing called love. It can lift you up, never let you down, take your world and turn it all around. Ever since time, nothing's ever been found that's stronger than love."
And these are challenging times for love, indeed. Why? Because we are stuck. The people that we love the most, however, we are not used to living together. Because we are busy, we're going to work, and one looks after the family, the other one cooks, the other one does the wash up, and things like that. So now this is our challenges. Now in what week are we now? Going to the 4th week now?
It will be probably the 4th week. We're day 20, so yeah, it'll be starting, 21 will be 3 weeks, and 22 is the start of week 4.
So now having to spend 24/7 in one household, and trying to cope with all the stress of our children, or even with our own personalities, because although you love your couple immensely, you still have your privacy, and that doesn't seem to happen when in this kind of situation, lockdown. So, but did you know, David, that the Greeks had 8 words to refer to love?
I know eros, but you'll have to fill me in on the other ones.
I think we all know heroes. Yeah. Well, it's passion, lust, and pleasure, basically, which is more or less what gets the couples together to start with in a relationship. Let's be open about it. Why not? It's not like you just well. And then it's got philia, which is affectionate love, which is the second type of love about friendship. So this is a very good time to really show filial love to our friends, and not necessarily physical attraction when you feel this kind of affectionate love. And then we have agape, which is selfless universal love. That's what I wish to everybody, every single human and not human things going around. Agape is selfless love and universal love in these times of crisis. Then there's the storge, which is a familial love. Storge is a natural form of affection experienced between family members. I think that's one of the best love that we can experience in a family environment. And then we have mania, ludus, pragma. Which one is that one?
Pragma.
Philautia.
Philautia,
Which is self-love.
Philautia, self-love.
Yeah, which is the Greeks understood that in order to care for others, we must first learn to care for ourselves.
That's very profound, but true. So you know, it's very interesting that different cultures have different words to describe stuff. So that, like the Inuits, hello Paul. Sorry we're very late this evening, but we were having such a good old time on our toilet roll hunt on Easter Sunday that we just had to find the last one hidden behind the wardrobe. Not an Easter egg hunt this year, but a loo roll hunt. I mean, you know, it makes sense, doesn't it? Really, because the Easter eggs have been rationed, whereas loo paper, woo. You know, it's 10 a penny.
Oh, look at this one. Pragma is enduring love. It says pragma is a love built on commitment, understanding, and a long-term best interest. So the best love to use just now in this crisis is the pragma love and the agape.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of your fellow philosophers,
Yeah.
his name is, I think, what name is that?
Oh, Aristotle.
He says, all friendly feelings for others are an extension of a man's feeling for himself.
Aristotle
Love thy neighbour.
was a bugger for the bottle. That's a line from Monty Python,
Okay.
the philosopher's song. Look it up if you get a chance. It's hysterically funny, actually. And one of them was permanently pissed, but I can't remember which when it was. But you know, very funny. Now, El amor en los tiempos de cólera is, of course.
Yeah, Loving Times of Cholera. It's one of the classics, yeah.
And now we'll kind of, I'm sure you've read it 15 times.
No.
Neither have I, only 14. And so it was a Nobel Prize-winning author Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Now we'll have to sort of do a kind of rewrite to that, Love in the Times of Corona, I guess. This Corona thing, we'll be talking about it to our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren for many years to come. I think it'll be quite a thing. It'll be quite a thing. And it's brought out the best in people and it's brought out the worst, isn't it? It's really sort of like polarised things.
Yeah.
It's a sort of two-way, love it or hate it, sort of two-way street type thing, if you like, you know. I think we're going to keep it short tonight because we came on late and it's not really fair because we were doing a bit of spring cleaning and all that sort of stuff and we didn't quite notice the time. So it's been magic to have you with us. Have you got some of your, because you always come up with these wonderful quotes to finish with, and then I always take 10 minutes to say goodbye. So
yeah, they're basically goodbyes.
Have you got anything that would be particularly appropriate this evening?
Yes, it is appropriate, more so for couples. And if you do happen to have your partner nearby or online, this is a beautiful from Rumi. It's a Whispers of the Beloved. It says, on my heart, in beautiful calligraphy, you have written words that only you and I can know. The secret you promised to reveal, we're only teasing. So ask for those. That's a very nice one.
That is fabulous. That's very nice. Very, very to the point, and very nice way to wrap up tonight. I'm just Googling as we're singing quotes about love. Look, 1,000 love quotes to explore and share. I'm going to try and pick one, or maybe you will. Yeah.
Oh, this is nice.
Off you go.
I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Martin Luther King. It's true.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And what shall I stick with? A couple, actually. We could take a few of these, couldn't we, really, to finish off with tonight. Here's a great one from Audrey Hepburn. The best thing to hold on to in life is each other.
Oh,
That's very nice. Yeah, and so let me keep scrolling through and stop me when you see something quite interesting. Um, 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 ha, 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 ha. There's a good one. Off you go.
We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Sigmund Freud.
Wow, you couldn't improve on that really. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
know
yeah.
he understood love.
Yeah, yeah. It's cool. It's cool. Um, I'm wondering if we can find one to end with, one really kind of knockout one, because despite the fact this was supposed to be 10,004, there's only about 6 on the page. And yeah, let's finish with some Oscar Wilde, who says to love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. He was the man. And with that, we'll take our leave of you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. If you missed the beginning, you can rewind to that and hear all the news. Once more, we leave you tonight with the very sad news that Tim Brooke Taylor, formerly of the Goodies, or of I'm sorry, I haven't a clue, has fallen victim to the coronavirus at the age of 79. We wish his family well. Stay safe, stay indoors, and we look forward to seeing you at the same time, or perhaps a bit earlier, tomorrow. Take care now. Bye from us.